Hi, this is Yolanda Vanveen, and in this segment we're going to talk about how to transplant orchids. Now, orchids are such a beautiful plant, and they do so well in certain situations. I have some on my east-facing window in my kitchen, and they do so beautifully. They just grow year-round, and they bloom periodically, and they're just a beautiful plant. But they do get big over the years and a little bit crowded for their pots. So there's some simple rules when you transplant them that you should follow. So this orchid came in the pot just like this, and it's probably not even too big right now to leave it in the pot. They like to be root bound, so being crowded is a good thing for them. But they also like to have a lot of room for the roots to grow, and in this pot they seem to be a little stagnant. It doesn't get a lot of air into the pot. There's no drainage. And so I'm going to put them into a regular pot, and I think that it'll do better. I found that they do better in pots where they can get drainage and have a little more air. So with orchids especially, the most important factor is good drainage. So putting some rocks or gravel on the bottom of your container, or marbles or moss or anything so that the water dries out, is the best thing that you can do for them. And then basically the two materials that I've used most for my orchids are straight bark dust, plant them right in the bark dust, and then straight moss. So I just get moss out of some of my other plants or around the house, under trees, and I just put some moss in big chunks in with the orchid. And sometimes I'll put some soil in with it too, because it seems to like it. And then it's always nice to separate the roots a bit too. These roots don't look that healthy. They haven't had a lot of oxygen. So by just giving it some little more air, I think it's going to do a lot better. So I'm just going to put that right into the pot. And then I found too, orchids like a little bit of soil. They seem to do better with a little tiny bit of compost. So I mix it with some moss, and I'm just putting a top layer with it as well. And I bet you that this orchid is going to do 10 times better now that I've given it a little more air in another pot. I bet this orchid will do a lot better now that it's gotten a little more air and some fresh moss and some fresh soil. And I'm going to put it back in the kitchen, and hopefully it'll bloom next year.